So now we're going to combine all the things that we've learned so far and just put them into practice with these 5 examples. Here we're just finding the domain, the x-intercepts, the y-intercept, vertical and horizontal asymptotes, if any. So what I would suggest is maybe you pause the video or pause at each problem and try to do this yourself. In all these ones, you want to try factor if you can. There's really nothing to factor on this first one, so we just go from there. We can see this is going to be in lowest terms already. So the domain, that's where the denominator is 0, or where it's not 0. Okay, so the domain would be all x not equal to 6. The x-intercept, that's where the numerator is 0. So solve that. And that's going to be at negative 5/3. For the y-intercept, you just plug in x equals 0, and I think you can see we'll get 5/6, or negative 5/6. This is already in lowest terms, so the vertical asymptote is going to be at x equals 6. And the degrees are the same. They're both equal to 1. So we look at the leading coefficients. This is 3, this is 1. So the horizontal asymptote is y equals 3. Looking at part B, this is we can see we can do some factorization on the bottom. This is pretty much irreducible right now. The numerator is. So this will be x squared plus 1 over x. And I believe this will be x minus 7 times x plus 2. If you check that, this will be x squared minus 7x plus 2x minus 14. So the domain is all x not equal to 7 or negative 2. That's just setting each of these terms equal to 0. By the way, we can see that this is in lowest terms. Nothing cancels. So the x-intercepts, well, where's the numerator is equal to 0? If we try to set x squared plus 1 equal to 0, there's no real solution, right? Because we're only dealing with real numbers. So there are no x-intercepts. There will be a y-intercept, because if you plug in x equals 0, you get 0 plus 1 over 0 minus 14. So the y-intercept will be 0, and then 1 over negative 14, or just negative 1/14. The vertical asymptote will be where the denominator is 0. X equals 7, x equals negative 2. And the horizontal asymptote, we look, the degrees are both 2. So we look at the leading coefficients, they're both 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. So that's the horizontal asymptote. We look at part C. We'll see that the top factors is x plus 5 times x plus 1 over x plus 3. Doesn't look like anything is canceling, does it? So it's in lowest terms. The domain would be all x not equal to negative 3. Set the numerator equals 0, you get negative 5 and negative 1. So the x-intercepts will be there. y-intercepts, if we plug in x equals 0, we get 5/3. Vertical asymptote at x equals -3. And because the degree of the top is bigger than the degree of the bottom, there are no horizontal asymptotes. Okay, let's look at part D. Okay, well, it's the same numerator, so it factors the same way. And what about does the denominator factor? Well, let's see. If it factors at all, it would factor as 2x and x. And we probably want a 5 and a 1. So we probably want the 5 here, the 1 here. This way it will, and then put pluses here. And sure enough, that's 2x squared plus 5x plus 2x, that's 7x plus 5. And here we can see the x plus 1s will cancel. Now, before I cancel this though, the domain, we can see that there are going to be two numbers where this denominator is 0. So we got to find those. So that 2x plus 5 equal to 0. We get x equals -5/2. And of course, if you set x plus 1 equal to 0, you get x equals -1. So the domain would be all x not equal to -5/2 or -1. Now we can cancel and proceed and say, okay, where's the x-intercept? They'll be at -5. And not -1 because we just found that -1 is not in the domain. Plug in x equals 0, we get 5/5, so the y-intercept will be 0, 5 divided by 5, of course, is 1. The vertical asymptote, well, that'll just be where 2x plus 5 is 0, and that's -5/2. And the horizontal asymptote, we look at the degrees. They're both 2. Leading coefficient is 1. 2. 1 divided by 2 is 1/2. Okay. Finally, on part E, we can see there's nothing in the numerator except a 6, a constant. So we don't have to worry about any cancellation. So this is already in lowest terms. The domain is where the factors are going to be 0. That's at -3 and 4. So all x not equal to -3 and +4. If you want, you can write this out. You can write x plus 3 equals 0. So x is -3. And 4 minus x equals 0. That will be x equals 4. The x-intercept, the numerator is 6. 6 is never going to be 0, so there's no x-intercept. And the y-intercept, we plug in x equals 0, we get 6 over 0 plus 3, that's 3, and 4 minus 0 is 4. 6 over 12, or 1/2. So the y-intercept will be 0, 1/2. The vertical asymptotes will be right here. That's where the denominator is 0. And because of the degree of the top is 0, because we have a constant here, and the degree of the bottom is 2, so the degree of the bottom is bigger, So the horizontal asymptote has to be y equals 0.